Hello and welcome to another video. In this one we are going to take an overview of the Level Up campaign guide which has just been released. This takes the 5th edition rule set and considerably enhances it and changes some of the mechanics. When you're loading or creating a new campaign, you want to make sure that you have the 5e level up extension selected, otherwise you're going to hit some issues. So let's start up this campaign and let's take a look at the module. Um, Pretty standard things here, but you'll notice that there are a few differences. You've got things like cultures, destinies, and heritages, which are all new to 5e, and these are used in character creation. And we'll cover character creation for this rule set or for this book in another video. But you can use, as usual, you've got your reference manual, which you can just read through everything as you normally would. You can pop out the imagery, etc., and just everything is there just as you would normally expect. We've got a section here on character creation. As I say, we'll cover it in another video. We've got the adventuring classes. There are several of these. The Adept is the monk class from the 5th edition. Berserker is the barbarian. An entirely new class, or two new classes really, is the Herald and the Marshal, although I think the Herald is more like the Paladin, but the Marshal is a completely new class. You can see that each of these classes have got several archetypes as well. So there's plenty of scope for character creation and new characters and different kinds of characters. You've got an equipment section as well. If we have a brief look at that, if we have a look well, we can actually look at it more easily over here. If we have a look at weapons, for example, we see there are several new weapons in here. There are the usual martial and simple ranged in melee, but there are also a considerable number of cultural weapons as well as some rare weapons too. If we open up one of these, you can see that we've added the uh, properties to the description of the weapon so that you've got a clear idea of what each of the properties mean. There are several new properties in the advanced edition. Similarly for armor, if we have a look at armor, there are several different kinds of armor, and there's new shields and there's a couple of helms as well. And again, if we have a look at these, we can see that the properties have been detailed in the description of the armor so that it's clear what these properties do. We've considerably expanded the type filter down here so that you can filter out different types of equipment. For example, we've got common poisons here. We also have containers. And there are also things like land vehicles too. And if we have a look at this wagon, for example, although it's created as an item, there's a link here to an NPC because there's just too much information for it to be shown in the item section. So I've created these as NPCs because they have armor class, they have hit points, they have various condition and damage immunities, and they've also got various traits. And all of that is detailed in the NPC sheet so that you've got a better idea of what these vehicles are. There's also air vehicles, I believe, water vehicles, as well. So the same kind of thing here. These have all been created as NPCs with their own stat blocks and traits, etc., so that it's much easier for you to actually be able to operate them. If we have a look further down, we've got sections on ability scores, etc. Then we've got the rules, combat, and then we've got a large section on combat maneuvers. There's well over 100 of these. They're split into different types, and they all do different things, and different classes get access to different types of maneuvers. Now, in keeping with the filter for the items, we've also added a considerable amount to the feats section. Now, not all of these are feats, but we've added in a whole bunch of filters down here, down at the bottom. And if you want to filter out combat maneuvers, then select combat maneuvers. You can then select a tradition. That's a different the type of maneuver. And then you can go in here and also drill down to the particular degree of maneuver that you're looking for. I mean, in addition to combat maneuvers, we've got all sorts of different things in here, like adventuring tricks, for example, which I think is an ability that the rogue has choices of. Battle hymns, which are something that the cleric gets to choose, or possibly it's the bard actually. And you've also got things like Eldritch Invocations in here as well for the Warlock. So there's a lot of stuff which has been added in as a feat and considerably enhanced the filters here so that you can find things more easily. And of course, all of these things, once you open them up, you can drag and drop these into your character if you select one of them. Similar to that, the spells filters have been considerably enhanced as well. You can now get rare spells. So if you wanted to see rare spells, then we've got a yes, no, and that will give you a list of all of the rare spells that are available. And if we have a look down at the spell school, we've got the usual abjuration and so on, but there's a whole host of different spell schools that they have added into the game. So if your character can get access to spells from the Beast School, then you can filter those spells to see which spells the character can access from these filters here. So many more filters available to the user in order to figure out which spells they have available. And of course, you've still got the level ritual and the source filters on spells as well. If we have a look down further, we come to conditions. There are some new conditions which have been added to the game. If we have a look at the effects library here, we can see that there's Doomed is a new effect which has been added. We also have Rattled, and there's a couple of other ones which I can't honestly remember just offhand. Um, what I've done here is to add in some basic effects which you can simply use as is, or just use them as a guide as to how you would set up certain effects. These are for expertise dice, which we'll look at in a minute. And then we've got a couple of new things here. Exhaustion has become fatigue in this rule set, and we also have a new type of condition called strife, and these are programmed into the rule set, and they should work. I will demonstrate that in another video. We can, if I have a look at the modifiers tab, we can see that we've added in some expertise dice buttons here. So you would just select whichever expertise dice that you have before you make the throw. And also, if we have a look at the characters here, we've removed the character wizard button from here, and we've also removed it from the level up because this will not work with the character wizard, so we don't want people trying to use it. The character sheet itself, we've added in the skills for culture and engineering, which are new skills. And we've also added in various things to the inventory, such as bulky items and supply, which are based on strength. So if we give ourselves a few more points of strength, then the bulk and supply factors have been added in. And I believe that the sort of encumbrance, the basic encumbrance, is also changed slightly. In respect of sort of things like equipment parcels and stuff like that, these have been created as parcels. So if your character wanted to have the acolyte equipment as part of their character creation, then they can simply come to these parcels. These will all be linked in the various places uh, for character creation, and you can simply drag the parcel into the inventory and drop it there, and it will add the items from the parcel, and it will also deduct the gold from your treasury. If we go back to the main page, you now have your heritage here rather than the race. And if we look at the notes tab, you've got your destiny, memento, and connections, which we'll get to in another video. And these have all changed so that you can simply drag and drop stuff in there. Now, there's probably another couple of things that I have forgotten about that we've done, but I think that's enough of an overview. So hopefully you found that useful. Let me know in the comments down below if there's something that I've missed, or if you would like to see further videos. I will do at least one more on character creation, probably have a look at the expertise dice mechanic as well. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks. Cheers for now.